All right, Shalom. Before we start, we're going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders and bishops of Great Millstone who teach and rule well. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect. And Shalom to the women who are here listening and learning in silence. All right, Shalom to you as well. All right. And today's lesson, I'm going in the spirit with this. All right, I watched this movie. Pull it up for y'all. Called American Blackout last night. All right, and I watched this because I'm substituting it for the recent one that came out. It's called Leave the World Behind. Everybody's talking about that, and I deleted my Netflix account, so I'm trying to figure out who Netflix account can I use for that. But meanwhile, while I was, you know, while I was you know, I mean, I could put that off for right now, but I was watching this. Not to get off top, I was watching this last night, and well, I started watching it 2 nights ago, and I've rewatched it last night, and it's kind of the same. Well, I'm not going to because I didn't see the other movie yet, but as I seen clips and trailers and stuff, it's kind of almost like the same, because with the American Blackout, the whole different part, well, the whole U.S., the whole country was hit with a blackout, right? And it was a cyber attacks. They said it was a cyber attack, and as the days went on, I say like around days 1 and 2 was everybody was neutral. They were certain people. They was well. There's one family. They were ready. They had a house, food, all that, and that's how certain people are going to be in these last days, right? Some people were before the blackout came, they had to go to work. Some people were they were at school going home, right? So when the blackout hit, people were stuck on the elevators. People were stuck at work. You know, and as days went on, like I said, days 1 and 2, they were neutral, right? Now going to like I say between when I got to like day 3, around day 3 and 4, things started to pick up, and I was watching through the spirit, right? And it reminded me of Second Edras 15 and 16, you know. I'm gonna start. Yeah, I'm gonna start at Second Edras 15 and 14. It says, "Woe to the world, and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands." Right, because as because in a movie, when it got to like day 3 and 4, people started to get they started to to what's the word I'm looking for? It's like they started like to it's that's the word, it's a word I'm looking for, but it's a word I'm trying to explain it to make it so I can get it. you know People just started, I wouldn't say bug out, but like, well, we can use that word. They started to bug out just a little bit though, not on like a whole nother level, right? Just a little bit. They were getting weary. People started going on the streets. People went to the stores. Even if the ATMs was down. People didn't have much food. There was little food, little water, right? You know, and when it got to like day 4 or 5, 8, that's when it started to pick up. People was riding out in the streets. You know, there was robberies going on, theft. Just uncivil rest, right? Verse 16, it says, "For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power." Eventually the police was hitting the streets, but they did little. You know, it was gangs, right? It reminded me of what's that movie that with Denzel Washington? and I reached that. I watched that. The Book of Eli. You know, it was gangs. You know, it was little food, little water. You know, the earth was in turmoil. You know, it was in the Book of Eli that I'm speaking of. The earth was in turmoil. You know, people were people were get eating what they can, right? But back to the but to the other movie I was watching, American Blackout. You know, people they had to sleep outside. Well, certain people slept outside. It was people. It was one particular group, not group. It was a couple. They were stuck in their apartment building. You know, they was on the top floor. You know, so things like this is and this is this is these things are gonna come to real life. You know, this is gonna happen. We already hearing the of you know I got an article. I ain't read it yet. I wanted to save it for the lesson. I was trying to build a lesson around it, but hey, I can use this. It says China affiliated hackers hit critical U.S. infrastructure. It says computer systems for water, power, communications, and transportation bodies have been affected. All right, what's today? This is the 14th, so this came out 2 days ago. All right, it says hacking groups affiliated with China have targeted critical infrastructure assets in the U.S., including utilities, communications, and transport. The attack is seen as a part of China's Typhoon cyber campaign, which the U.S. government has observed for around a year now. Hackers affiliated with the Chinese People's Liberation Army have allegedly intruded into the computer systems of dozens of critical infrastructure units of the U.S. government. These include water and power utilities, oil and gas pipelines, and transportation and communication entities. It is speculated that this is part of a broader effort by the PLA to hit logistics targets in terms of a U.S.-China conflict in the Pacific region. I mean, and you're hearing about it. Let's get that real fast. We're hearing the wars and rumors of wars, right? 24 Matthew 24:7, 6. It says, "Ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in divers places. All these are beginning of sorrows." And the China and U.S. conflict. That's a rumor. Because China wants to invade Taiwan, and not China. Yeah, China wants to invade Taiwan, but the U.S. and Taiwan, they have some, type of what's the allegiance. All right, so so China invades Taiwan, the U.S. will have to step in, right? It says down here, both China and the U.S. have blamed each other for years on cyber attacks. The latest series of alleged attacks from the Chinese have been referred to as the Typhoon campaign. Key victims of the campaign include a port on the West Coast, water utility systems in Hawaii, a critical oil and gas pipeline, and a Texas power grid operator. So far, I hate saying these words. Such intrusions have not caused any disruptions. However, the attack on systems in Hawaii have been suggested to aim at potential disruptions to the operations of the Pacific Fleet. The hackers running the Typhoon campaign have stolen employee credentials with backdoor entries and have used arbitrary, so like I'm saying it wrong, home and workplace routers to hide their tracks. All right, so this is what's going on. China is and Lord willing, I'll put the link in the description when I'm done this video. Let's see if there's any more I want to get. Slovakia. right, so I put the link in the description, but going back to the where I was to the movie and pull it up. Yeah, American Blackout. Yeah, these things. So the power grid was hit, the electrical grid was hit. There was no food, no water, you know, and people were it was civil unrest really, and again as the days went on, it picked up around like day 3 and 4. People started to get weary, you know, and after like the fourth day, going into the fifth day, people started to riot. It was civil unrest, you know. People started to steal. People started to loot. There was a lot of deaths. It was this one scene was the guy he's looking for his mother, and he got into this some type of building, and there was a bunch of body bags, you know, body bags on the ground. People. It's gonna be a lot of deaths, and it's gonna take place. It's gonna really happen. Now I can't say there's gonna be a. I didn't watch the other one that everybody's talking about on Netflix, Leave the World Behind. They saying it was a some sort of cyber attack, right? And Blue willing, I can get to watch that, soon, and bring some information out on that, and we could compare the two documentaries, right? But yeah, like I said, as the days went on, they got worse and worse, you know. Um, People started another thing. It was people try to go out of the cities. It was a bunch of it was traffic everywhere. You really couldn't do much, right? People started to leave their vehicles. Then eventually martial law was implemented. You know, we can get that actually. Let's finish this up though. It's like Judges 15 and 16. For there shall be a sedition among men, and if any one another shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. For 17, a man shall desire to go into a city, and shall not be able. Right. Martial law was implemented, during the Slovakia. Yeah, during that time, you know, FEMA stepped in, martial law was implemented, you know, and people couldn't, you couldn't do much. It was a curfew, actually. They put a curfew out for dusk and dawn because there was so many, robberies and thefts and gangs out, you know. This how it's gonna be when, if this really happens, I'm gonna say when, because the Lord can bring this if He wants to, but hey, the way it's looking, it could, and you gotta be prepared for this, not carnally. Don't prepare. Well, you can a little bit, get you some stuff, get you water, make sure you're prepared, but rely on the Lord. The Lord Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai is gonna take care of you, right? That's what we can find out actually. My servants shall eat. I believe that's in Luke. Nope. Let me see. Nope. Um, how did it go? I think it's in Luke. It says, "My servant shall eat." See this. Let me do it this way, like Apostle Gabar. My servants shall eat. Isaiah. Okay, Isaiah 65:13. Let's get that. Was it 65? Was yeah 65. Isaiah 65. And I'm gonna start at 12. It says, "Therefore will I number you to the sword, and ye shall bow down to the slaughter, because when I called." Matter of fact, no. I'm just go to straight to the point. Isaiah 65:13. Therefore, thus saith the Lord power. Behold, my servant shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. Behold, my servant shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servant shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed. Behold, my servant shall sing for joy of heart, but ye shall cry for sorrow of heart, and shall howl for vexation of spirit. And ye shall leave your name for a curse unto my chosen. For the Lord Yahweh shall slay thee, and call his servants by another name. All right, so the servants of the Lord, the men that he set up, and and a few women, right? That's being taken care of. Will be taken care of. Will be taken care of by the Lord. Lord willing, we be of, that number. All right. So his servants are gonna eat. All right. So we don't have nothing to worry about. You know. But during this time, still do things. Still fast, pray, get closer to the Lord as you can. Right. Because these days are coming. Time of Jacob's trouble is around the corner. The Esau Edom's ready to come down. Is ready to come down with a great wrath. Let's see if we can get that. This is a Revelation. Revelation 11. And is it 12? Yeah, Revelation 12:12 it says, therefore rejoice ye heavens and ye that dwell therein. Dwell in them, Salakia. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he have but a short time. Alright, who's that devil? Esau Edom, so-called white man. Alright, the Edomites. The top bacon family, the elite. They're ready to send down that great wrath. They're ready to come with a great wrath, Salakia. Send down they're ready to bring the destruction on you Israelites, and on those who are in the truth. We have to prepare for these things spiritually, mentally. All right. But back to like I was saying, that movie, you should go watch that if you haven't. I'm pretty sure a lot have, but that movie, it gives you, more insight, right? You know, they had these FEMA camps. Well, not FEMA camps, but they had these quarantine, not even quarantine. I can't even say that. They had this they just had certain places you can go to get food and water. You know, right? And this one family, like I said, they already prepared. The father, the mother, and his son and her daughter, and she had a boyfriend that came with him. And he was giving food away to other people, and they eventually robbed them. So, trust is gonna be that's another thing. Trust is gonna be little. It's gonna be you're barely gonna find any. You're gonna how can I word this? You're not gonna find any trust. Little to no trust during these last days. During these final days that we're living in, as the rough times come upon the terrible times come upon us. You know, so let's go back to this real quick. Psychiatrist 15 and 18 says, for because of their pride, the city shall be the trouble, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, And during that movie, people didn't take pity for, they didn't show kindness to one another. During the time of, during in the face of trouble, people would turn on you like that. People, like I said, the family that was prepared, they were getting robbed, right? The dad had he called it a bug out house, and he had bug out bags. He had food. He said food that lasted him like 2 years. In case of something really drastic happens, he was prepared. The boyfriend of his daughter, gave food away to the neighbors, right? And then eventually, the neighbors they invaded. It was at night they invaded Well, the son was out having doing patrol, and they came through the fence, to capture the boy. Told him to lead him to the food, you know, and they had this bunker and all that. You just gotta watch the movie, man. So it's really a good movie, you know, and I enjoyed it. But verse 19 it says, "A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods, because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation." And the lack of bread, people turn into savages, to animals. That's how it's gonna be. People gonna turn on you, right? A lot of people gonna turn on each other, family, friends, relatives, you know, everybody, you know. So let's see, we read this in the GNT. Excuse me. It's all right. 15. I said it's all right. Second Edger, Salaki, y'all. We start at 14. It says, "The world in it and the people in it are doomed. The war that will bring their destruction is very near. Nations will arm themselves and fight against other nations. There will be there will be great political turmoil, with one group trying to overpower another and gain control while ignoring their legitimate government. There will no longer be free access to cities." Right? In a movie, you couldn't move freely anymore. Like the martial law was set up. You know, it was a curfew. You couldn't be out past a certain time. Right? 18 says, "Because the struggle for power will bring destruction, terror, and total confusion wherever people live, driven by famine and terrible suffering. People will assault people will assault their neighbors and mercilessly plunder their possessions." All right, and that's what took place. People didn't care for their neighbors. People didn't, you know, have mercy on each other. Whatever you, they people. This couple was fighting over, had to fight this man for a can of peaches. That's how scarce food is gonna be. You know, and they didn't have water. There was no running water, no running electricity. They couldn't use the bathroom. So you know how bad it's gonna be during these. That's how. So imagine this in real time. You know, people gonna imagine go back to 2020. When that pandemic came, people went to the into the stores and got toilet paper. Like what? Come on, man. So these people not prepared for a real crisis, right? Let's read second Ezra 16, and then we'll wrap it up. Second Ezra 16 and 17 says, "Woe is me, woe is me, who will deliver me in those days? The beginning of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the power shall stand in fear, the beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils come?" You know, it says, "Behold, famine, plague, tribulation, and anguish are sent as scourges for an amendment." All right, and that's famine is coming. People were sick. A lady's child got sick. You know, tribulation was great tribulation. Like I said, people were, you know, they were in they were it was very what's the word? It was great trouble during that time. Distress, right? You couldn't do really much. And then it got so bad that when the games was out, they were setting people's houses on fire. You know, so how much more of that in real time, during this time, you know. It says, "But for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Behold, victuals shall be so good cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and a great destruction. For many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy. All right, and the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them. For the earth shall be wasted, and the city shall be cast down." And these cities were in turmoil. They were in you know, It was a couple cities. It was, I think it was New York, a couple on the West Coast, California, San Francisco, Colorado, but that was where the other family was. It wasn't really much going on there. The main cities were like on the east and west coast. You know, the big cities. You know, and I think Texas. So that's where the main things was happening. You know, on the east and west coast of parts of the U.S. and different parts in the Midwest. You know, so these things are coming. You know, the Lord's gonna bring these things. All right, He's gonna bring evils. He's gonna bring troubles, uh, plague, famine. He's gonna bring all of that. You know, the great time of tribulation is coming, man. And eventually, you know, he's gonna Esau Edom. He's gonna put the spirit on them to, you know, roll out that mark of the beast. You know, and Lord willing, He put the spirit on us, His servants. You know, to give us that spirit of courage and faith to not take that. All right, and continue to move in us in the in a rifle sense. You know, so let's get this in the GNT and I'll, you know, close on that. This is Second Ezra 16:17. It says, I'm doomed, I'm doomed, I'm doomed. Who will rescue me in those days? Troubles will come and many people will groan. Famine will come and many will die. Wars will come and the world powers will tremble. Disasters will come and everyone will be terrified. What will people do when these disasters come? Famine, epidemics, troubles, and suffering are sent to punish and correct people. But in spite of all this, they will not turn away from their sins. They soon forget their punishment. The time is coming when food will be so cheap that people will think a time of peace and plenty has arrived. But then disasters will spring up everywhere, wars, famine, and great confusion. There was great confusion, you know, in that movie. People didn't know what to do, you know, and that's another thing. Americans, you know, really have it good, you know, although we go through certain stuff, but we're really the American society is like, you know, it's really, I say it's not like these how these other countries, you know, are, you know, these third world countries, what they go through, complete war, you know, famine, all that, on a daily basis though. So imagine, you know, that we so they go that to that is to them, that's nothing, you know, and that's why I see why they come over here for, what they say a better life, but it's nothing better here, you know. But you know they come over here and they see us, you know, they see us Americans, right? And we, you know, we complain about the stuff we doing, you know, our jobs, you know, certain stuff, and they see us like we're spoon fed. We got silver spoons, you know. They over there really going through things, right, in these other countries on a daily basis. So, you know, Americans are not ready for what's really coming, you know, because they've been, you know, you know, what's the word? We've been we've been it's like I can't explain it. You know, we're just not ready for the things that about the Lord's about to send on the American people, well, the on American society, you know. But I'll read that again. It said the is coming when food will be so cheap that people will think a time of peace and plenty has arrived. But then disasters will spring up everywhere, wars, famine, and great confusion. Many people on earth will starve to death, and those who escape starvation will be killed in war. Their corpses will be thrown out like garbage, and there will be no one left to comfort the living. The earth will be deserted and the cities demolished. All right, and that's what's coming, you know, especially in America. That these cities about to be demolished, about to be great, great confusion, great destruction, great mass murder on a high level, you know. But the Lord's gonna has a remnant that He's gonna keep safe from all these things, you know. And I'll read. I said I was gonna end it, but I'm gonna read this last one. Revelation 3 and 10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world, to try them that dwell upon the earth. And what's the hour of temptation? That, Jacob's trouble and the mark of the beast is going to be in that. And the Lord's going to keep us from that. Right? So Lord willing, is also edifying. You know, go watch the movies. Go watch both. Compare them to each other. Right? I heard that the other movie was taking place in the suburbs. They didn't really show much what was going on in the city. But American Blackout, it was different cities, different things happening in different cities. So, you can compare those. Right? So Lord willing, this is edifying. I'm going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, bishops of Great Millstone who teach and rule well. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect, and shalom to the women who are listening and learning in silence. All right, may election become upon your households. Until the next video, Lord willing, shalom.